Hi, welcome to class. All right, it is Thursday, already October, which is terrifying. So a few classroom reminders. The first thing was this is the last week for the grading period, for the first grading period, that I am giving you all next week to try to get any late work turned in for full credit. Please make sure you go back and double check all of your assignments to make sure things are turned in. In class, we went over the quote of the day, which is history, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but it is faced with courage, need not be lived again. Some of those answers students shared were things that we have to look at our history in order to fix it. We've really focused on the idea of fixing it, that we don't want history to repeat itself, so we need to study it in order to fix it. And then the question of the day was, what is one way the environment can impact society? So we really talked about things like climate, that if you live in a really warm area like the South, you don't have to wear as many winter clothes versus the North has to wear more winter clothes. We talked about hurricanes, maybe poisonous plants, that even now the environment impacts us. We then did the assignment called Negative Impact Worksheet. So going through this slideshow, I prompted everyone that the slideshows usually have a bunch of questions on them, but it's not the same as the Google Doc. And the reason for that is for me in class to kind of help you with prompting, but also for you that if you're really struggling, like, I don't know what this is telling me, the questions kind of help guide you to the answer. So we talked about that some things are positive and negative with the environment, that they can be good and bad. But today's class, we really just focused on the negative. So we first looked at the Black Death, and I kind of used these questions that are on my screen to kind of help. So looking at the map, we concluded in class that the reason the plague was spreading so badly was because of trade routes, mostly by water, that all the skulls and the lines were all by water. So for the cause of the decline, because of trade routes along waterways, it increased the disease. We then looked at, I attached a slide on here with the reading assignment. So if you click on this link and go to page 15, so I put the page 15, it lists dozens and dozens of effects. So the ones that this class chose was, some of the effects was people started to lose their faith. They started losing trading because obviously it was spreading through trading. People stopped working. They abandoned their homes. That really forced Europe to slowly but surely decline. So going on to Greece. So Greece had also a link attached. It's in light blue. It's Khan Academy. So we kind of read that together in class. So what the class decided was that Greece had lots and lots of mountains, that they didn't have a lot of farmland because they needed to find flat land. You can't really farm on mountains. So what this affected people with was it separated people, and they began to fight over land, that when you have little land, you're going to fight over that land that you do have. And that ultimately led to a lot of decline for Greece. For Rome, we read an article on Brain Pop talking about lead, that most of Rome had built all their pipes, their glasses, pretty much everything was built out of lead. So they used their natural resources, that Rome had lots and lots of lead, that it was a very easy material to find in the earth that they could manipulate to use. But unfortunately for Rome, this led to lead poisoning. It wiped out the rich class, forced sterility, which means you can't have kids. And it also led to some mental defects. So for Rome, because of all that lead and because they used everything out of lead, it led to a lot of lead poisoning. We then talked about Egypt. So we kind of looked at this picture about the pyramids, and then we read this short paragraph. In this paragraph, it talked about a major drought. So for the cause, we wrote that the drought, that they had no water. The drought literally means no water, which means the Nile couldn't flood, which allowed for good farming. This eventually led to no taxes, that when you can't farm, Egypt was using agriculture as a form of taxing. The government couldn't enforce things because they had no food to enforce. It also led to things like no water, no food. The reading passage itself talked about people felt like they were locusts because they were so desperate in search of food. ultimately leading to Egypt's decline. I'll come back here at the end if you want to pause the screen to kind of copy that. But the formative performance task, I told everyone they have to do this one on their own. But to summarize, it says, looking at information above, describe one civilization began to decline because of the environment. So I told the class you were picking one of these. So if you liked Rome, if you liked Egypt, when you read about it, say you pick Egypt, you would say Egypt declined because there was a major drought, which meant they had no water, which meant the government couldn't issue taxes, and people basically starved to death. I'm only looking for a couple sentences. So again, you pick one of these civilizations that you thought was cool, and you're basically restating what you kind of already wrote, but writing it in a sentence instead of just bullet points. And then once you get that done, you turn it in. So with this video, if you want to hit pause so you can jot some of these down, this is a great time to hit pause. Otherwise, I am Xing out, and good luck. Email me if you need help. Quick reminder, you do not have school Friday, October 2nd, and you don't have it the following Monday because of parent-teacher conferences. All right, good luck, guys. Be safe for your weekend.